Welcome back, friends. In the previous video, we had discussed about the working capital requirement in the business in two circumstances. First one was when the client decided to expand his business, set up a new product line, set up a new unit itself, then the additional working capital requirement shall be there. And in the second circumstance, when the external market changes take place due to any government regulation, any change in beyond the control of the borrower, any such change which can make additional requirement in the business for working capital. So at the end of the video, I told you that I will highlight two more, extensions of those reasons only. So there are two more ways to think about it, about the working capital requirement that I shall be discussing in this video itself. So let us start. So I will start with an example. Mr. A has started a business. So this is a new business of export of yarns, So in this example, it is a new business, but in practical circumstances, it can be a new business or an expansion of an existing business also. Okay. So Mr. A has started a business of export of yarns and has received monthly orders. So he has fixed orders of $50,000 per month from a reputed company. Okay. So Mr. A is a pure trader. He does not do any manufacturing of his own, and he gets around 30 days credit period from his supplier. What does that mean? So if Mr. A buys a material today, buys a material today, he will make the payments after 30 days. He will make the payments after 30 days. He gets around 30 days credit period from his supplier. While his customer, who is his customer? The reputed company itself, has asked for credit period of 60 days post shipment. After Mr. A dispatches the good, after Mr. A does shipment of goods, then the reputed company, then that company shall pay Mr. A after 60 days, from the date of a shipment. Remember, from the date of receipt of order and the date of the shipment, it takes a little bit of time there. Okay. So since he is a trader, the time will be on lower side. So what is that time? It usually takes around 30 days from the date of receipt of order and to the day of final shipment. So if Mr. A, so if I write, let me write it more easily. So Mr. A receives order today, he will do shipment after 30 days. And then from the date of shipment after 60 days, he will receive his payment. He will receive the payments. Okay, this is the simplified way to present it. So I have elaborated the whole case in next sheet itself. So see it carefully. So this is the 120 days period, 120 days timeline I have drawn here. From day one, on day one, please see it carefully. On day one, he has received orders of rupees $50,000. We will call it order number one. Order number one. He has received orders worth rupees $50,000. And if you see carefully, on day one, he does not have any funds requirement. There is no need for any working capital here on day one. Why? Since he has received order today and he will ask his suppliers to supply that material to him. He will ask his supplier to supply that material to him, and he will be paying his suppliers after 30 days only. So on day one, there shall be not any working capital requirement. On 30th day, what will happen on the 30th day? See it carefully. Orders that he has received of $50,000 that he must have asked his supplier to supply to him first. He will have to make payment of $50,000 to his supplier. Since he gets only 30 days credit from his supplier. So there is a requirement of $50,000 on 30th day. Okay. On 30th day itself, he will receive a new order also. since the order of $50,000 are monthly orders, on so 30th day he will receive next order as well. We will call it order number 2. So he will have to make payment of order number 1 here today, and on 30th day also the shipment of first order shall also take place. We have written here that it usually takes 30 days from the date of receipt of order to the date of final shipment. So on the 30th day, the shipment of first order shall also take place. Okay. Now, what will happen on the 60th day? What will happen on the 60th day? He will again make payment to the supplier. He will again be making payment to the supplier for which order? Order number 2nd. The order that he has received on 30th day, he will make payment after 30 days. On day 60th for order number 2. Okay. He will again receive one new order, order number 3. That is also fine. Then he will make shipment of previous order. Which order? Order number 2. Since shipment is done within 30 days from the date of receipt of order. So he has received order on 30th day and he will make it shipment on 60th day. That is fine. But what is the fund requirements? What are the fund requirements involved? So he will require funds of again $50,000 here. Why? Since he has to make payment to his suppliers on 60th day, but till 60th day he has not received even a single rupee from all the business he has done till date. Till the 60th day he has not received any single payment yet. Okay. So what will happen on 90th day? What will happen on 90th day? He will receive his first payments from customer on 90th day, means 60 days from the date of shipment. 60 days from the date of shipment, the first order that he has processed on 30th day, first order, he will receive its payment on 90th day. Okay. So he will have to make payment to his suppliers as well. For which order? The order he received 30 days back. He will have to make payment here also. He will receive new orders also. He will have to make shipment of previous order also. So this cycle will keep on continuing. So if we project the next 30 days as well, so the same cycle, shall get repeated on 120th day itself. But the point to be noted here is there are nil working capital requirement. There are nil requirement of funds on 90th day and 120th day. Why? Why? Because he will receive $50,000 here, $50,000 here, and he will make payment of $50,000 here. So there is no other working capital requirement. So there shall be nil requirement on day 90th and nil requirement on day 120th. Okay. So what I mean to say here is when the 90th day comes, he receives his first payment. He receives his first payment. So the business that he has started, he has started on day 1 has completed its first order successfully. By that I mean receipt of payment. First order successfully on day 90th. So by first order, I also mean that his first business cycle. Remember these words. His first, not business cycle. His first operating cycle. Operating cycle of the business gets completed on 90th day. As and when the first operating cycle gets completed, there is no more working capital requirement. Whatever you may be projecting on 150th day, 180th day, there shall not be any further working capital requirement post that cycle. Okay. So I mean to say completion of first business cycle, first operating cycle, in fact, completion of first operating cycle is always difficult for the new business, whether you are expanding a new existing business, whether you are starting altogether a new business. completion of first working cycle is always difficult. Remember that I have taken a lot of presumptions in this example. I have not considered any profit and loss in this example. I have ignored all the expenses that he has to incur in those 90 days, all those administration expenses, all those shipment expenses, all those taxes due to the government, all those salary to the employees, and all those electricity expenses, many other expenses I have ignored. These expenses shall also increase his funds requirement in the business. I have taken just a simple and plain example for you to understand here. So what I mean, what I want you to understand here is, in the first operating cycle, for the first operating cycle, completion of first operating cycle itself is a very difficult task. Once you have completed your first operating cycle successfully, then the next cycles shall run smoothly in your business. Okay. So in this example, total funds requirement shall be of $1 lakh. Total funds requirements shall be of $1 lakh for how much period? For how much period? 60 days. For how much period? 60 days. Because on 30th day is the first time when he used those funds, and he used here for 30 days. Then he again made payment of $50,000, and he again required to credit for those 30 days also. So in total he used these 60 days for $1 lakh. So $1 lakh requirement in the business is there for around 60 days period. Once the cycle gets complete, first cycle gets complete, you shall find that there shall not be any requirement in the funds in coming working capital cycles. So the requirement is $1 lakh. If he somehow gets these $1 lakh by way of his own contribution, through loan from the banks, whatever source, if he gets $1 lakh, then his business, his operating cycle shall run smoothly, and from the next cycle onwards, he will not be having any requirements of the funds. So to simplify it, therefore we can say, whenever a new business or a product line or anything additionally is done, then the rotation of first operating cycle is always difficult. That you have understood by that example. Once with the support of working capital, that can be from promoters' own funds or from the funds of the banker as well. First rotation is done, then the rest of the cycle runs smoothly. So this is another way. This is another way of saying why working capital is required in the business. It is required to run the operating cycle smoothly. By operating cycle, I mean the first operating cycle. Remember, there are a lot of presumptions in that example. A lot of expenses, profit and loss have been ignored. A lot of the external uncontrollable circumstances that I had discussed in the previous video are also ignored in this example. But this is a simple example to understand that for running the operating cycle, that is the first operating cycle, is always difficult. So the working capital requirement shall be there. This is a practical case for you. Since you may come across many such circumstances, I have come across some sort of circumstances when I visited the customer, and the customer was just telling me, Mr. Ankush, we have requirement of working capital funds for completion of our first cycle. So when I was not much experienced at that time, I was thinking that what is he saying? What is the CFO saying to me? Completion of first cycle only? What does he mean by that? I could not get what he meant to me at that point of time. But with this example, you all now understand what is exactly the meaning of completion of first cycle with the help of working capital funds. Okay. So the second way of thinking about this, I will take the same example only. In that example, we noticed that there is a requirement of around $1 lakh for 60 days period. Suppose instead of borrowing those $1 lakh, the promoter himself contributes those $1 lakh. The promoter is very rich. He uses his own funds, his own savings to fill up that gap, and he infused $1 lakh in his business by himself. Okay. See, he did not took any borrowing, and he started running the business smoothly. And over a period of time, say 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, The business keeps on going, and he has been getting very good revenues out of this, very good profit out of this. So the business is running smoothly, and there is no changes in external circumstances also. The same cycle is keep on continuing, and there is no additional working capital requirement. Suppose this customer comes to you for working capital funds of $50,000. Mr. A comes to you as a bank, you are working in a bank. Mr. A comes to you and tell you that, sir, this is my balance sheet, this is my financials, this is my business, and I need $50,000 from you to run my business. Now, as a banker, I am not talking about any guidelines, any talking about any borrower. As a banker, you must understand that you are here to do the business for the bank. Bank takes people's money in their saving from their savings, personal savings into their saving account, pays them interest, and bank lend this money as a safe investment to borrowers who need the money in the business and charges interest from them. By that way, bank earns a difference between the interest that it pays to the saving account or fixed deposit account holders, and the interest that it earns from the loan department. Okay, so that is the net earning of the banks. So as a banker guy, your prime motive is that your bank is earning a profitable business, and the loan that your bank is giving is a safe investment. The probability of default on these loans is on lower side, that you have to ensure while working as a credit analyst or a risk manager or a credit manager in the bank. Okay, so banks have to run a profitable business. So investing in this business that the borrower is carrying on from last 5 to 7 years from his own capital is a safe investment. By seeing you the financial, the business model, you are comfortable that the funds that we are gonna lend to this guy is gonna be safe. There are minimum risk of default in this segment. Okay. So the second point is the competition. The other banks are growing multifold, and your bank is lagging behind. So you want your bank to be, up to the mark and compete with other banks. So for that, your bank's loan book growth has to take place. Okay. So what I mean by that, even if with $1 lakh his business is running smoothly, and he asks you for $50,000, and you will say that, sir, your business requires $1 lakh only, and you have invested your own capital only in that business. So there is no expansion plan that you are discussing here with us. Why would you need additional $50,000 from us? Why should we give you $50,000 worth of rupees loan to run this business, which you are already running successfully with your own capital? So there are then, if even with these circumstances, when you see the balance sheet, you see the business model, you are comfortable that the $50,000 will not be lost. They will not become non-performing asset. This is a safe lending to this guy. But still, the question will come to your mind. Okay, but due to these factors that you want your bank to stay in the competition, you want your bank's loan book to grow positively, you want the profitable business and safe investment in lending business. So you will still, I believe, you will still want to give that $50,000 to that client. Why? Because we can say that since promoter has blocked his $1 lakh worth of saving in this business, and by giving $50,000 as a loan to him, you will become 50% partner with him, kind of 50% partner, since he will be having his $50,000 investment, and you will be having your $50,000, and total $1 lakh investment is the total requirement of the business. So you will be partnering in 50% risk share with the borrower. So essentially, you are freeing up or setting free the promoter's own capital in the business. Earlier, the promoter has invested $1 lakh in the business. So if you total requirement of the business is also $1 lakh, and if you give $50,000 to the promoter, so in that way you are freeing up, you are setting free promoter's 50,000 own worth of capital that he has invested in the business. And obviously a prudent businessman, a prudent and a good businessman who has $1 lakh requirement in the business, and post getting $50,000 from the bank, he will have $50,000 of his capital free, of his capital free, of his own funds free. Okay. So what will he do with these $50,000? He naturally will ultimately use it for the expansion of the business itself. He will use it for the growth of sales. He will use to buy additional unit, additional land, make or more payment to the advance payment to the supplier, get additional discounts. He will be prudent businessman, shall be using it for the business itself only. So as a banker, you will have to see that these $50,000 that which are getting free by the investment of your funds are not withdrawn from the business. Are not withdrawn from the business. This you have to ensure as a risk guy. The promoter shall convince you that these $50,000 that which will get free because of your lending shall be used for the business only, and he has to explain to you what other business opportunities that he see which for which he shall be using those freed up capital of $50,000 here. So this is another way to think about it. When in the existing line of business everything is running smoothly with the own capital, still you will give $50,000 to the borrower in order to stay in the competition, increase your loan book size, having knowing that the lending that you are giving, the loan that you are giving is a safe investment. The money isn't going anywhere. The promoter is experienced and running a good business here. So just one question need to be answered, that the capital that will get that which will get freed up due to your loan, how will that be used? But you must ensure that this capital is not withdrawn from the business by the promoter for his personal purpose, for his personal investments. Okay. So this part you have to ensure. So these are the two more ways to think about the expansion or the external market circumstances line that we had discussed in the previous video. In the next video, we shall be discussing about in detail about the operating cycle. What is the operating cycle in the business? So stay tuned to these videos. So thank you very much, guys.